So, hello everyone. We are back, and now we will discuss furthermore about our IoT protocols. So, we were discussing in the last lecture what are the factors that decide what kind of networking protocols we should use for our IoT devices, or between IoT devices and gateway, or between gateway and the clouds. Uh, so the most important factors are, for example, what should be the range of the communication between the devices and gateway, or the gateway and cloud, and number two, what is, for example, the power. Either they are low power devices or high power devices, because this is also a very important factor, because some of these protocols, they need low power, and some of them they need high power devices. Now another important factor is what is the cost of the IoT devices and gateway, and the fourth important factor is the size of our devices and the gateway. Now the range can have two meanings. For example, what is the distance between the IoT devices and the gateway, or for example between the gateway and the cloud. And the range can also be taken as a meaning. For example, uh, what is the range, or what is the number of devices that will be supported. For example, if we have a very high number of devices, we can use IPv6 IP addresses instead of the IPv4 ones. For example, because they are a there are a limited number of such addresses available. So we can use, for example, this if we need we have a lot of a high number of IoT devices, and we need a lot of IP to generate a lot of IP addresses. So IPv6 will be a better choice. And IPv6 we have already described a little bit in the first part of this lecture. And now we will discuss each of these, or at least most of these communication protocols, um, as they are listed in this list here, and we will describe what is the, for example, the range, the power constraints, or for example the cost, for which are they, for example, for the expensive IoT devices and gateway, or for the cheap ones, or for example what is the size of the devices that can support uh, each of these IoT protocols. And then if you know what, for example, range and power constraints, and what kind of sizes and costs of these, depending on the cost and size of the devices, which kind of IoT protocols you can use for your particular applications, then you can make better decisions. So instead of starting with, for example, Wi-Fi or cellular, Bluetooth, etc., because many people already know this, we will we will try to explain these new IoT protocols first. For example, MQTT, CoAP, ZigBee, Z-Wave, LoWPAN, Thread, etc. Um, and we will describe them one by one, and describe their features in a very short descriptive way, and explain them a little bit, so that you understand about what I mean by choosing uh, these IT protocols for particular applications. And we gave a few examples also, for example, for which applications you can use what kind of protocols, etc. And not to forget, we can also describe the standard, for example, which each of these protocol uses. So we will start with ZigBee.